Hey, everybody, welcome back to the podcast. You're listening to the longest running superhero role playing game on Earth. I'm your host, the Game Master, and today we're talking about a module for TSR's old Marvel Superheroes role playing game called the Breeder Bombs. But before we get into that, smash like, make sure you're subscribed, ring the bell, and leave us a comment. We've got a great community here, and it's all thanks to you. Thank you so much for being here. With all that said, let's dive in. Previously on X Men, the X Men proved that Wolverine did not murder Mentallo, and in doing so, they discovered a VCR tape that showed Magneto next to a large electronic map. Four green spots marked North America, South America, Asia, and Australia as the locations where he placed open air reactors designed to spew radiation into the upper atmosphere. They would increase the number of mutants, but kill millions of normal people. So the X-Men went to the Denning military reservation where they encountered Project Wide Awake's Mark V Sentinels. Each one was specially designed and equipped to defeat specific X-Men. The heroes lost the fight, and Omnius wound up in a coma. When we last left our heroes, they were in a cell waiting for trial. Which brings us to the main plot. The X-Men's trial takes place one day after their capture, and Professor Xavier asks Matt Murdock to defend them. Murdock argues their case, and the military has no evidence that the X-Men were the ones who planted the breeder bomb. Murdock also plays the VCR tape showing Magneto standing next to the map showing the locations. Also noteworthy is when the military checks the fingerprints of the X-Men, Omnius is confirmed to be John Redbridge, a man who's fought for America in every single war. And as such, the X-Men are allowed to return to the X-Mansion in upstate New York, where the unconscious body of Omnius is placed in a hospital bed in the lower levels beneath the mansion. Rogue and her son sit by his bed, and their son asks if his dad's going to be okay. Rogue says she doesn't know, and their son cries. Professor Xavier contacts all of the X-Men using his telepathy, requesting that they attend a team meeting where he plans to tell them he's located the next breeder bomb, and it's in Afghanistan. But Rogue stays in sickbay by the side of Omnius. Professor X sends Storm, since she's the team leader for field missions, and Storm walks into sickbay. Rogue cries and tells Storm she feels bad. The last thing she said to Omnius were pretty harsh. Storm confronts Rogue and is genuinely warm with her. But at the end of the day, Storm reminds Rogue she's an X-Man now, and she's got a job to do. These breeder bombs are going to kill millions. Rogue says she figures the others can handle it. And Storm says, like we handled the last mission? Rogue says she has a right to take a day off. Storm says that's true, but today isn't it. Professor Xavier says that as always, he will keep an eye on Rogue's son. So Rogue agrees to go, but she doesn't like it. Once again, the X-Men suit up and get in the Blackbird. The Blackbird flies across the Atlantic Ocean without incident, and it enters the hostile skies over Afghanistan. Several patrols of Russian MiGs pass by, unable to see the Blackbird through its Shi'ar cloaking device. But as they approach the target, a ruby red energy ray lances through the left wing, killing the port engine and sending the plane into a steep dive over the valley, hiding the next bomb. The X-Men land the plane, and the Crimson Dynamo and a unit of Soviet super troopers surround them, demanding their surrender. He detected the jet's contrails and is the one who shot them down. Rogue says she ain't in the mood to surrender and instead decides to take out her frustrations on Crimson Dynamo while the rest of the X-Men attack the other Soviet troopers. Rogue knocks out Dynamo, and once half the troopers are knocked out, the remaining half run away. As they call in reinforcements, the X-Men split up. Those who can repair the Blackbird do, while those who can't find the breeder bomb and shut it down. The X-Men leave Afghanistan, and once they're in the air, Professor Xavier contacts them, directing them to the site of the next breeder bomb. So the X-Men go to Australia, where they find the breeder bomb, but its plutonium core is missing. All that's left is a twisted pile of metal in a cave strewn with trash. So the heroes search the cave and find a clue. It's a map with a skull and crossbones drawn over Sydney. So the X-Men get back in the X-Jet and fly to Sydney, where the radiation detector on the Blackbird leads them to a shopping mall. Magneto is on the roof, holding a metallic object in his arms. Wolverine asks Magneto why he's destroying his own breeder bombs, and Magneto claims they were never his bombs. He says he took this from some foolish humans, and 5 unconscious men in the mall are his proof. He says they were the real thieves, but Storm says they could be anyone. And Nightcrawler says they saw Magneto on a VCR tape. Kitty Pryde says, wait, we also saw Wolverine on a tape killing Mentallo. But that turned out to be a fake. What if what we saw was a fake Magneto, too? Magneto knows nothing about what Shadowcat is talking about, but he swears he is destroying the breeder bombs and is willing to let the X-Men assist him. So the X-Men vote on it, and it's almost 50-50. But more X-Men vote to work together than fight. Professor Xavier contacts the X-Men and tells them that the last bomb is in an ancient ruined city in the Chilean Andes. A great civilization rose there once, but the city was abandoned before Europeans came to the New World. At the very heart of a great stone pyramid lies the fourth and last of the breeder bombs. The pyramid has been cleared and renovated recently. It has 3 entrances on the north, east, and west. The X-Men split up and use different entrances. Each group runs into the halls of the pyramid. Magneto takes the North Hall by himself, insisting on going alone. Colossus, Nightcrawler, and Rogue take the West Hall. While making their way towards the center of the pyramid, they encounter 3 deviants. The first is a giant with blue skin carrying a club. Colossus takes care of him. The next is a flying deviant who resembles Sauron, the humanoid pterodactyl. And the last deviant has flight but no wings. He fights Rogue and projects illusions of death into her mind. Rogue fails to resist and loses consciousness for 1d10 rounds. Meanwhile, Colossus punches the Reaper that attacked Rogue, knocking it out. Shadowcat, Storm, and Wolverine take the East Hall. Storm hits the blue giant in that hall with lightning. while the pterodactyl-like deviant dives at Kitty Pryde, who phases out. The third deviant in this hallway is the Shooter. He fires remarkable energy rays through his eyes, and Wolverine says he reminds him of Cyclops. Wolverine claws the Shooter to death with his claws and says, "I didn't like him much either." Then Wolverine kills the pterodactyl man. The player characters get past the deviants guarding the 3 halls and enter the center of the pyramid, which is a cavernous room lined with banks of winking computers and telltale lights. A huge console shaped much like a steam organ dominates the far end of the chamber. Laughing in front of the console is Magneto. Hanging unconscious from a harness above the console is another Magneto. Standing between the entrance and Magneto is the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. The Blob, the Scarlet Witch, Quicksilver, and Toad. Mastermind lies crumpled on the floor near the wall, the victim of an earlier fight. The Magneto suspended above the console is the real deal, defeated in battle by the robot Magneto and the robot Brotherhood members. The Magneto robot was created long ago by the Sentinels and almost destroyed by them. Saved by its self-repair mechanisms, the robot believes it is the original, and it intends to take over the world. The robot Brotherhood members were created by the robot Magneto. The robot Magneto has never met the mutants that they are based on, so his robot duplicates are far from perfect copies. The last and largest of the breeder bombs is in the wall behind the console. So the X-Men fight the robot Brotherhood, and while they do damage, they are having a rough time of it. Magneto wakes up on round 6, breaks free in round 7, and blasts the false Magneto into smoking bits in round 8. With Robot Magneto out of the way, the remaining X-Men defeat the Brotherhood. The last bomb is destroyed, and the X-Men leave. Magneto brings down the entire pyramid on top of the Robot Brotherhood members. Which brings us to our epilogue. The X-Jet flies back towards New York, and Rogue sits next to Storm, telling her about the Reaper deviant. Storm asks what Rogue saw in the dream that he gave her, and Rogue says terrible things. So when the X-Jet lands, Rogue hurries to sickbay. Her son is sleeping on top of his dad in the hospital bed. Rogue holds their hands and waits to see if Omnius will ever wake up. And that was it for the breeder bombs. I always liked this adventure. We hope that you did too. If so, as always, we would love it if you took a moment of your time to smash that like button. Check to see if you're still subscribed, because YouTube loves to unsubscribe people without telling them. Ring the bell for notifications so you know when we upload more stuff. And as always, leave us a comment. From all of us here at the longest running superhero role-playing game on Earth, we hope you have a good one, and we'll see you in the next adventure. Bye.